But Rob, Dan Graziano of ESPN, respected NFL reporter, he wrote in his latest column that Tampa Bay coach Todd Bowles is not likely to be fired after this season, despite the just underwhelming season that this team is having. They're 6-8. They look like they'll still make the playoffs just solely because that division is the worst in football. But it's been a bad season for them. Tom Brady's having probably the worst season of his career. Rob, first time Tom Brady's ever lost 8 games, 8 or more games in a regular season in his career. And so it's saying a lot. What are your thoughts on this?
Are we sure they're going to make the playoffs?
No, we're not.
We're not. Well, I say this for sure. If they don't make the playoffs, because I get it. If you make the playoffs or back your way in, it's hard to get rid of a coach, okay? It just is. But, Chris, if they don't make the playoffs and this continues, Todd Bowles should be fired. And I'm going to say it has a lot to do with the way he's handled the team this year. He lost control early of this team, Chris, with the way that the Tom Brady situation was handled. And you can sit around and say, well, he's won 7 championships. He should do whatever he wants. No, that's not good for a team. And Todd Bowles allowed Tom Brady to undermine him, to make other players question him and what is going on. It's one thing if you do it, Chris, and you win, then you can get away with it.
Right.
They look horrible, Chris, most nights, most games. They look like they've been distracted by Tom Brady. Missing training camp, divorce with his wife. There's always a story. Going to a party on a Saturday before a game or Friday night before the game. Chris, I'm sorry. Todd Bowles, you were starstruck by Tom Brady, and you thought do whatever he wants and you'll be good. Whatever Tom wants is good. No. What about the other 52 guys on the roster who look like they were distracted all year? Chris, they were healthy, and they couldn't score. He wasn't missing everybody. The Tampa Bay Bucks, from where they were when they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, Chris, and this team, terrible. Terrible. You can't do it. You can't make special treatment for one guy. It messes up the rest of the team, and I believe that Tom Brady was nothing more than a distraction. Forget about, Chris, people make mistakes, turnovers, and not playing great. That team was never together all year, and I don't think you'd have a quarterback who can miss training camp for 11 days and it not affect the overall team. I think Todd Bowles is to blame for this disaster that you call the 2022 Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, it's interesting because on the one hand, you say, I agree with you. We've said it all season that Tom Brady has undermined the authority of this coaching staff. And obviously the head of that is Todd Bowles time after time after time. The 11-day vacation during training camp, going to Robert Kraft's wedding and missing a team function before a game on a weekend. And then the latest report that he's redoing the game plan
without telling the coach.
Right. And they find out the next day at game time.
Chris.
Now, he kind of, I don't know if he denied it or not. He said no, but he didn't explain. You know what I mean? He didn't really address it. So it seems like there's some truth to it at least. But I agree with that, Rob. Here's my question. And it's I don't know, maybe this is my answer. Because, Rob, on the one hand, I say, what could Todd Bowles have done? I mean, clearly, remember, who did Brady go talk to before he came back to the team, Rob? Ownership. So he has a line above Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles obviously didn't do a very good job with the Jets when he was a head coach there. Now he gets a second chance. And it doesn't make it right. But I think he felt like his hands were tied. Rob, truth serum, there's no way I think Todd Bowles was cool with you missing the 11 days in training camp. And here's the thing, though. As much as I say, okay, what if Bowles had put his foot down? Don't come back. Could even said, don't come back if you miss 11. Or you're suspended. You'll miss the first 2 regular season games. I don't know, whatever. But here's the thing. You think Bruce Arians would have went for that?
Nope. That's why not the coach.
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
It
Chris.
Feels like, obviously, Belichick
would Bill Belichick go for him?
There's no way. He would go for it.
And that's why
Bruce
Todd Bowles
Arians
shouldn't have done
seem
it.
like he would have either. And so but you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, was Bowles, because he's going to, like you said, Rob, if he doesn't, barring some miracle postseason run.
Right.
If he doesn't lose his job this year, and maybe he won't, even if they don't make the playoffs. I don't know. Guess what? He's going to lose it soon.
Yep.
He will not be there more than the next 2 years, if that. And here's why. Rob, I think Brady's out of there.
I do too. I 100%.
So he's gone. They're not going to be any good next year. And Bowles is going to be the coach. They're going to be bad. They're going to miss the playoffs. And he'll probably get fired.
And then they'll be like, oh, well, look, they didn't respond to him. They didn't respond to him.
Right. And
Chris,
I'm with you. Like, look, obviously, they're not even 6-8. They're not even relevant without Tom Brady. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he definitely has undermined the authority of the coaching staff. And I think that's a big – Rob, if he goes in there, practices those 11 days, is all in – they're probably, I bet you their record is better.
I agree, Chris.
They might be 8-6.
Right. I totally agree, because you can't play the NFL like that. And Chris, the slap in the face was going to Kraft's wedding.
Right.
That's
Belichick didn't even go.
Right.
Come on.
That was the slap in the face to Todd Bowles. And I would have been like, dude, what? Look at you. Haven't even played great this year. We're struggling in the red zone. Where are you going?
Right. And even if you have to appeal to look, man, I got to coach this team.
It ain't right.
And if you're gone, even with the 11 days, right? And look, I don't know what was going on with the marriage. Was it to try to save the marriage? I mean, that's a bad situation, right?
It was.
But still, it's like, dude, you chose to commit to this team. Now, everybody got their personal issues, but you chose to commit to this team. And you could go to Brady like, Rob, look, I hear you, and I get it, and I'm sensitive to your situation, but I got to coach these 50-some-odd
53 players, 52
and if I let
guys.
You go for 2 weeks, I'm not going to be able to coach them. It's not personal. I have got to be able to coach these players. And, yeah, I think but Todd Bowles, and look, he hasn't been a good coach in the league, Rob. This will be his 6th year, I think, and he's had 1 winning record. I do think poor coaching is a problem, but I think, like we said, Brady, this is his 5th year, but he's likely to not have a winning
Chris,
record against him one time in 5 years.
The one thing about, we're going to call it like we see it. I'm just telling you that Todd Bowles lost control of the team, and like the idea that the other players should fall in. I just don't know. How do you tell other people to do stuff, Chris?
That's the thing.
You can.
I think
I'm expecting the best out of you and the other guys at a party in New York before our game.
I think the fact that it was Brady made it a little better. There's some guys in the locker room that probably were like, not all, but some like, okay, it's Tom Brady. We get it. he's the GOAT, whatever. But it still wasn't good.
No, they
it
might
would have
not.
been worse if you do that for another player.
But they might not
But the
say
fact that
anything,
you
Chris.
did
That's
it-
all. Like, you know what I mean? Because it is Brady.
Right. No, I think it bothers some people, period. And some players may have brushed it off because it's Brady, but it still isn't good. If you do that with another player, you might lose everybody in that locker room. And Rob, the thing is, again, even if guys still liked Todd Bowles or like Todd Bowles, there's no doubt, it's just human nature that it undermines your authority.
It just does. You could say, oh, it doesn't matter. That's not why we're... Dude, you can't have two sets of rules. You just can't, Chris, because especially football is that game where you're asking everybody to give everything of themselves. Am I wrong with football?
No, look, I think, and we've heard people say sometimes, you do give superstars different treatment. I think it has to be within reason. That's the thing. I don't think if Tom Brady, like there was the report he gets Wednesdays off, I'm sure dudes are fine with that. I mean, he's 45 years old. That's to me, that's within reason. He still, I assume, was at the facility, I think. But 11 days off in training camp, the hardest part of the practices, like that is the type of thing where players are going to lose a bit of respect for the head coach when you letting that happen. That's the type of thing we're talking about. And yeah, it's look, Todd Bowles was in a tough situation.
I get it, Chris. I get it. But the thing you said, I think, is the defining part is that Belichick wouldn't go for that, and neither would Bruce Arians. I just don't believe.
And to your point, maybe that's why Arians isn't there.
Yep.
As a head coach.
See, that's why you remember that. I really believe that Brady had something to do with that, with Arians, because remember he retired, not going to be there, and then all of a sudden Arians stepped down. Like what? And then Brady's coming back.